Hi. Now, purposefully, I came to you with my analysis on the terrorist attack in Moscow after some time. You can say after a lot of time because I was waiting for the inquiry which is still going on. I was waiting for the words of Vladimir Putin and the Russian officials because they are the most important people when it comes to this terrorist attack because they are the victims. No matter whatever the things are being said by the Western media, but as per me, whatever the things are coming out of official Russian narrative is the most important because it is coming out from the victim themselves. Now, what Vladimir Putin said, he said that we know that the crime was perpetrated by radical Islamists. The Islamic world itself has been fighting this ideology for centuries. But we are also seeing how the United States is using different channels to try and convince its satellites and other countries of the world that according to its intelligence there is supposedly no sign of Kiev's involvement in the Moscow terrorist attack. That the deadly terrorist attack was perpetrated by the followers of Islam, members of ISIS, an organization banned in Russia. We know whose hands were used to commit this atrocity against Russia and its people. We want to know who ordered it. Then he also said about what actions or what stance is Russia taking in Middle East. He actually said we need to obtain answers to a number of questions in the course of joint work of our security services and law enforcement agencies. For example, do radical and even terrorist Islamist organizations truly have an interest in launching attacks on Russia now that it supports a fair resolution of the escalated conflict in the Middle East? So he is also putting all these things into question. And then FSB chief, he said he actually said that US, Britain, Ukraine behind the Corpus City Hall attack. And even on the first day when that attack took place, what Vladimir Putin said, he said that the terrorists were going running towards Ukraine and some kind of channel was opened for them. Now, if you combine all these things, though Mr. Vladimir Putin has put in question regarding who, why should they attack Moscow or Russians, he also put other questions. The thing is that he must be speaking when he is having some evidence or lot of evidence. Probably he might be having all the communications because all those terrorists are caught alive, so he must be having all those connections which they were maintaining with other countries. Their supporters might be in Ukraine, might be in other countries. He might be also having their cellular phones and all the data. So if the Russian president is speaking, he must be having a lot of things, and I think more things will come out. I'm not blaming anybody, but this is what the conclusion or analysis I'm getting. And now combine it with the military actions which Russia is taking in Ukraine. We are seeing far more attacks, far bigger attacks on the Ukraine by the Russian military. So this shows that he is convinced that it was definitely carried out by those people who are claimed to be linked with IS. But somebody else was pressing the buttons. I think he's very much convinced, and that's the reason we are seeing an escalation in the attacks on Ukraine. And if you look at Vladimir Putin, he has fought with the radicals two times in Chechnya and very much incorporated Chechnya in the Russian mainstream fold, so much so that those Chechens are today fighting for Russia in Ukraine. So they have been integrated in the Russian fold, and he knows all these things because there is the province of Dagestan, which is a Muslim province in Russia. There is a province of Tatarstan. There is a province of Chechnya. So these all Muslim provinces are there, and he also knows that West has connection previously also with the extremists, and and he also knows all those things, being a Russian, that when in Afghanistan, when there was a fight going on between Afghans and Russians, formerly Soviets, at that time CIA was the party who was funding these radicals, who was supporting them with arms, ammunition, training, and also diplomacy. And they also, in order to get more of them fighting in Afghanistan against Soviets, they spread the radical ideas, and with the support of many of the Middle East states, and the ideas which were never there, actually never there in the Islamic history. We never saw such things in the Islamic history. They were propagated, and people were made convinced that this is a holy war going on in Afghanistan, and those people were sent, and later they only became Taliban. So Taliban is also a progeny of the United States of America and the CIA. So this guy knows what he's talking about, and he has also fought ISIS and helped and support Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria. So there also actually it was Russia who defeated ISIS there in Syria, and Syrian government is still stable and ruling there just because of the support of Russian troops and Vladimir Putin. So this is not a naive guy to all these things. He is a guy who knows everything, how these things operate, how these people operate, and if he is raising finger on Ukraine and West, there is substance. And let's see what else come out in investigation. Thank you.